I mean, what is it that I inherited?
Why, Elizabeth?
What Elizabeth, of course.
Your cousin Andrew's. Elizabeth. Are you... Are you joking? Didn't Mr. Simpson tell you? What? What? Wait a minute now. Are you telling me that I inherited a baby from a cousin I haven't seen since 1954? No, I know, no way. This is impossible. I'm sorry.
When I rode into Fort Benton last night and saw what had happened, I couldn't believe my eyes. It's against everything I know about you, Brax.
You believe it now, sir, don't you?
You ran out, you deserted. Now you refuse to make a statement. What else do you expect me to believe?
Nothing, sir.
Don't you play games with me, Brax. I know you too well. You and I served together for 6 years, and I know there's no better soldier in a fight.
Good evening and welcome to BW Flix, the Average Movie Critics. I am here, BA, with Elizabeth Mendoza because James he's got a busy life. Sometimes you can't always make everything, but that's cool. We miss you, James. We'll be on here next time with your brother. Just take care of your business. But in the meantime, we got Liz on here helping us out with the videos today. The two videos, as you saw, are Baby Boom and Sargent Rutledge. Both films. Baby Boom is for Mother's Day. And by the way, happy Cinco de Mayo and also happy Mother's Day coming up. And this is Military May month. So we're going to do a lot of military movies in here with some other movies in general as well. So just keep that in mind. I hope everybody's having a wonderful evening out there. Liz, is there anything you would like to say? How you doing today?
I'm doing good. Hi. Thank you for having me. And yes, James, I hope you're doing good. And thank you for trusting me to be on the show with B Strilla. But I'm excited for the two movies and happy Mother's Day. And also thank you for all the servicemen and women out there that serve our country and have served our country.
There you go. Yeah. All right. So let's really get into our first movie of the day is Baby Boom. Baby Boom stars Diane Keaton as CJ Wyatt, and she's a management consultant, and her nickname is the Tiger Lady. In this movie, it's directed by Charles Shire. It's starring again Diane Keaton, Harold Ramis, as you know, if you watched Ghostbusters, he's in there. Harold Ramis. You also have Sam Shepard as Dr. Jeff Cooper, who it turns out to be her romantic interest, and later in the movie. You also have James Spader as her sneaky assistant, Ken Ehrenberg. He's the weasel, basically, in this movie. The production company was United Artists, distributed by MGM/UA Communications Company, released on October 30th, 1987. The running time is 110 minutes. The budget was $15 million. It didn't do so well at the box office at $26 million that came in. Now, this, again, CJ Wyatt is Diane Keaton. She's a management consultant, again, as Tiger Lady. She lives with her boyfriend, which is Stephen Bushner, which is Harold Ramis. And they're focused on their careers, and they don't really want to get married and stuff like that. They're just focused on their careers. And she work. She's a work type of woman. And that fits well with her then boyfriend. But then she gets a little bit of a disruption in her life. And one of her, I believe it was her uncle or aunt that passed away, uncle and aunt passed away, and they left a cousin or something like that. Yeah. They passed away. And so in the will, they send their daughter, who was a baby, Elizabeth, to her. That's in the will. And she
Mhm.
doesn't realize this. She gets informed of this whole situation, but they don't tell her what's in the will. They just tell her to meet her at the airport, basically. And so she can sign some papers. That's all they tell her. They don't tell her anything else about no baby or nothing like that. So when she comes to the airport, sign her paperwork, and she's all giddy. She's like, "Would I get $1 million?" No, no, you get a baby. And she was not into that at first because she has this life that she's created for herself and her career, and she's trying to balance. Now she's got to try to balance doing, having this child in her life, and balance that with having a job, and which she is offered to become a partner in there, but she has to really get her stuff in together. She has a food account of the food chain, which is a major company, and she has to adjust to that and Elizabeth at the same time. So struggling struggling to balance her home and work and home life, and obviously her boyfriend at the time, Steven, he's like, I can't deal with this. I got to go. So he leaves the picture. So it's just her and Elizabeth on their own. Then she goes to Vermont, I think it is Vermont, and to get a house. In between this right now, everything is shifting at work because she's got all these duties that she's trying to do with Elizabeth because, you got to be responsible for the kid. And so they start leaning toward the weasel, Ken, as the person that's taking charge of the account that she's trying to do. So they eventually pull the account from her and give it to Ken, and then they try to give her some little Weasley account, and she says, "You know what? I'm quitting. Forget y'all." Mm-hmm. So she quits. She moves to Vermont. She purchases a house, of course, without going there and seeing it in person or having it inspected. So by the time she, once she starts settling here, all this stuff starts happening to the house, as well as the fact that she's still, being a mother to Elizabeth. And she meets this doctor who actually, he's a veterinarian. He's not a real people doctor. He's a veterinarian, which is still
he's a small town veterinarian. I mean, that's where the movie is from. It's like a small town environment. Dr. Jeff Cooper, right?
Yep, Jeff Cooper, you got it. And so she focuses on other ways to make herself money because she's got to pay for all this stuff that's going on in her house as well. So she gets this opportunity to sell gourmet baby food, applesauce. She had concocted, and she's trying to sell everything. And hello, Robbie.
Hi, Robbie.
I think Steven is shacking off. Yeah, he pretty much is in this one. But
yeah, he is.
Because he leaves her. So, I mean, yeah, that's pretty bad. But really what it comes down to at the end is that she tries to sell this opportunity to the food company that she was doing in the first place. And she kind of thinks about, and she thinks, I could do this on my own. I don't need anybody helping me out. And she got a really good lucrative deal for them to sell it to them at $3 million. And I think she got like 300 or 950 million or 950,000 salary bonus for being somebody that oversees everything. She didn't want that. She was like, I think I can do better on my own. I'm doing fine right now. So let me see if I can do anything. So that's what the path she goes. She falls in love with Jeff Cooper. They have a thing going on. So that's really kind of where it ends. They find a life in Vermont. She had an opportunity, and that's why she had an opportunity to go back to New York, but she said, nah, I'm not doing that. And everybody kind of, they respected her for that. The company that she worked for respected her for that, but she left. She said, I'm going back to Vermont and doing my own thing. And like I said, everything falls into place. I live happily ever after. And there you go. What I thought about this movie, the kid thing, it was pretty funny. In fact, I got a scene here. Where I think every parent has this problem when they have their first kid. Okay, putting on a diaper. Let me tell you something. My first child, I had to put on a diaper, dude. Man, it was just messy. And then he was a boy, so he was aiming for everything. So, but fortunately, she's a girl in this. So Elizabeth's obviously a girl, so it doesn't get as messy. But let me show you how this went.
Bring diaper between baby's legs, release tapes, and position over front of absorbent padding. Now. Oh. Release the tapes. There. In front of absorbent. Ah! This is really fabulous. Position over front of absorbent padding. Okay, I've got it. Perfect.
As you can see right there, it takes lots of practice to do this, and that's back then when diapers weren't that were more complicated than they are now. And just think about it, So, this movie was released in '87. There, Rob Dizzle.
Robbie,
Yeah. So
get on these movies.
you got to understand, he was born later in life. So a lot of times before these or after these movies came out. So you give.
Well, I was born in
Bobby
80,
some credit.
so
Yeah.
the movie came out in 87.
Yeah. And so to me, the movie was fine. It was a good movie because I appreciate the fact that she, and like her boss was telling her at the beginning of this whole thing when she had the child and he found out, he was like, you got to put some priorities in place. You can't sometimes you got to give up stuff to get stuff done. And he said it's not gonna. It's hard to do that, And he's talking about he lost a couple of wives because of the fact that he was so in balance with his job and not with his regular life. So he lost a couple good wives. With her, he's trying to tell her, hey, you got to balance that. If you can't balance it, then you got to go with what your priority is, and that's what she did. And I think that he was the one that, he gave her the lower account. I think he was trying to look out for her, trying to make her life a little bit better, but she felt humiliated because she was the one that put all this effort into the food chain company, and just to have it weaseled out from under her by Ken Ehrenberg, James Spader, and she just didn't like that whole situation. She thought she was better for the job than he was, obviously because he was an intern, but he was on his P's and Q's. Got to give him credit too, even being a weasel. He was on his P's and Q's. So, and she didn't like the fact that she had to be reduced to a lesser contract. So she was like, okay, forget that. I quit. And I commend her for that because it does take a lot to raise kids. I have 3 of them. I know you have 3 of them too.
I have 3 sons, so
3 sons, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's you were 5 years old in '86. I hate watching baby movies. What?
Oh my gosh!
Don't be
You're
a
crazy,
baby hater,
Robbie. Don't be a baby hater.
Yeah, that
you
was
have
Diane
a
Keaton.
baby. Yes,
Yeah,
it
that
was
was Diane Keaton. Yeah, definitely Diane Keaton. So what was your opinion about the movie, Liz?
Well, here's the thing. Like, I'm all about those 80s movies and 90s movies, but the 80s culture context, it's kind of like what women go through still now, to where can women be powerful without sacrificing family? Can they be powerful without sacrificing their marriage? And that's what I loved basically about Baby Boom, because it's like, what happens when a woman who built her life on control, but then she take custody of Elizabeth and is forced to embrace the chaos, but she still persevered to what she wanted to do and create baby food and still made a life for herself, because regardless of, that's what women do. We are going to, regardless of what chaos comes through, we're gonna persevere to, it may not look like how we planned it, but we're still gonna sacrifice and do for our family. That's what I got out of the movie. I really love Diane Keaton. This is not one of my favorite movies of hers, but for me, she really didn't have control at the beginning, but then she was failing a lot, especially when later in the movie when she bought that house and all that stuff started happening. And then she kind of like, that old saying, when you have lemons make lemonade. Well, she had this apple tree and she created this baby
Baby
food
app.
business,
Yeah.
and she persevered it. And that's what, like, you can build something on something new. And that's
Mhm.
what I loved about this movie, because I mean, it's less about choosing between, it's not, Baby Boom to me was like not really choosing between a career and motherhood, but more about women learning, can she redefine her success after life rewrites her plan? And that's, as a mom, that's how I had to do it. Like, I didn't, have, I had a plan, but things change and now you have different plans. But yeah, I really
Yeah,
love the movie
Something's
though.
Got to Give in The Godfather. Yeah, she was really good in Something's Got to Give. That was a pretty funny movie.
Oh, I love that movie. That was my favorite one. Is that the one with oh no, I was thinking about Jack Nicholson.
Oh yeah, it's easy now. Hey Yoli.
Hi Yoli.
Yeah, they're easy now because diapers ain't really nothing. You can smash them together now and they stick. It's
Mm-mm.
not
Yeah.
last in those days, man. She was right. I don't. It wasn't that early that I had my son. It was more like in the late '90s, but they still
Hmm.
had that sticky crap. You had, oh, dude, and then your son's aiming at you every 5 seconds. So it's like,
Yep.
it's just a mess. And like I said, the kudos to the character, because yes, you're right. She was a strong, empowered woman. She made things work, and she wasn't even a mom. She didn't give birth to this child, and she
Mm-mm.
mothered this child like it was her own. And she, like every parent in the beginning stages of having their first kid, they stumble. We all stumble. Nobody
Hmm.
knows what to do when they have a kid at first. So I mean, that part I got really well, and she worked through it. At the same time, she was empowered to do all the other things, even though she was getting rejected a lot. And as a matter of fact, if you remember in the movie, when she was trying to sell her baby food, a lot of stores were like, "Nah, we don't want that.
Yeah.
Nah, we don't want that." And she kept going at it, and like I said, she got the ludicrous offer from the company she worked from, and the food store, Food Choice, whatever the hell it's called. And they gave her all that option, and she was like, "Nah, I think I can do better on my own, and I like doing it better on my own. I like doing everything on my own. I don't like to be under people. I want to be the person. I don't want to be working for the person."
Hmm.
But let's see. Hey, that I can agree with you on, because yeah, my kids
Oh
are
my gosh.
grown. They're changing their
Yeah.
own babies' diapers now,
Yeah, they
so thank
are.
God for that.
Yeah,
Uh,
because Robbie, I have 3 grandkids, so trust me, those diapers are still coming my way. But I'm also like, when that happens, I'm like, here you go, son, your job.
right, yeah, because you can always do that to your kids. You see, oh, can you? Nope, that's your
Nope,
kid.
that's your baby.
I'll have them when they're smelling good and sweet. Other than that, you got to change the
Yeah.
diaper unless they're under my care, and then I have to do that. But other than that, no, I'm not. So let's go with this too. The actress, the star of this show, Diane Keaton.
Hmm.
Fortunately, Diane Keaton is no longer with us. She passed in
Yes.
2025, October 11th, at the age of 79. She was an Oscar. She's done a lot of
Mm.
Academy Award and awards in her Golden Globe Awards, Tony Awards, Emmy Awards. She's gotten all kinds of stuff.
So
Um,
amazing.
she was born on January 5th, 1946 in Los Angeles to Dorothy Dean and John Newton.
Hmm.
Ignatius Jack Hall. Jeez. And she was the eldest of 4 children. She was a homemaker and amateur photographer. And yeah, Dorothy, her mother, was a homemaker and an amateur photographer. Jack was a real estate
Mhm.
broker and a civil engineer. Um, and she became, and actually, her mother became Miss Los Angeles for,
Yes.
she did the Los Angeles pageant for homemakers. And I think that's what inspired her. And she also, and Diane also was inspired by Katharine Hepburn, who admired her for playing strong, independent. This is something that Diane Keaton has done over the course of her career too. When she was in film, she always played those strong, independent women,
Mhm.
and that's something that even if she was married, she would be strong. She's just a strong woman figure in these movies. Um, she did her Godfather film. She was in the Broadway production of Hair. Um, she got Tony Awards for Woody Allen's Play It Again, Sam. Lovers and Other Strangers. I could go on with this. She was Kay Adams' girlfriend's wife of Michael Corleone, played by Al
Mhm.
Pacino in The Godfather. Um, she also did The Godfather Part Two, and then she was in. Let's see what else she was in here besides the. Well, let me go down to the filmography. Yeah, she was in, but I mean, over a span of her career, man, she did so many
Yes.
movies,
And she did,
so
yeah.
many
Yeah,
movies.
and she did a lot of television as well.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Uh, Baby Boom, Radio Days was in the same year. She did Baby Boom, which is another movie that people don't really see that much of. Radio Days, A Good Mother, Godfather Part Three, Father of the Bride. Look
Mhm.
Who's Talking Now. She was an integral part of
Yes.
that. Father of the Bride 2, First Wives Club, uh,
Mhm.
Town and Country,
You
which is
don't
the movie I
own
saw.
me.
Something's Got to Give. That was a very good
Yes.
movie too. The Family Stone. That was another good one. Mad Money, which was a very good comedy.
Very good
She did
movie.
that was hilarious. Um, like I said, she's been in The Book Club. That was another good movie I saw.
Mhm.
Tom's. That was another one. Let's see. She
She was
did.
also in a music video with she played Justin Bieber's grandmother in his 2021 music video Ghost. And when
Yeah,
I saw her, I was like, "Oh my gosh, she's just so amazing even just as playing a grandma."
yeah. She was also on Heaven Is a Place on Earth with Belinda
Mhm.
Carlisle and I Get Weak.
Yep.
Also, Think Too Hard with the artist Sid Straw. So
Mhm.
yeah, she's very prominent.
Yeah,
And she lived a very good actress life, I would
very
have to
so.
say. Um, so that is Diane Keaton right there. And we will be going to our next movie. Well, first of all, before we do that, we gotta give our popcorn review.
Yes.
And Liz, what do you give this for the popcorn review?
um Probably I'll say I'll give it 2 popcorns.
You're gonna give it 2 popcorns. All
Yeah.
right. Well, let's put that on there. 2 popcorns. There you go. 2 dancing popcorn. Why would you give it popcorns though? What part of the movie did you not like? That's what I want to know.
I didn't like the love life. I
Oh,
feel
my
like it
bad.
could have been better. I feel like the love life could have been better because it was the movie was more focused on like her succeeding, having, her this brand new child and just kind of making it. And then I feel like in the film they just kind of threw in the doctor um and that whole situation. So I didn't really care for it because it could have been just fine with the version of just her being a mom and being a successful mother on her own. I felt like when the veterinarian came in the picture, it was just kind of like, where is this going? Like, what is the story to it? Because then you're putting a narrative on a mom just trying to succeed first. I didn't like the love scene, and I'm a romantic. I love romance, but when he came out, I was like, who's this dude? So yeah, that's why I gave it 2 popcorns.
I kind of feel that same way with that whole
Hmm.
situation. I was talking to you off screen about it earlier. I'm not a big. I don't. I don't see Diane Keaton as a sexy figure. I consider, I see her as a mom figure, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
She's a mom figure. So when she was doing all these, saying all this stuff about sex to this doctor, it was like kind of cringe to me because
Hmm.
I'm used to her being mother. It would be like my mother saying stuff like that to me, and at the same, I don't know.
Yeah.
And I think the doctor was a real weak character too. He came in there meh, he was meh,
Yeah. And
kind of meh.
he's not great looking guy to me. So I was just like, meh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was kind of scruffy too. But
Yeah,
I
it
think,
was just like
to me that he matched, I think he matched Diane Keaton
they
in that
did. They
certain
did match their
situation.
energy. Yeah.
Yeah. But he was kind of a meh character in it
Hmm.
too. But I am going to give it 3 popcorn because it was Diane Keaton. She played an absolutely great role in it. I really, I can't say that that was really good. I don't think the movie premise itself, I usually do average. This is average to me. That's why I gave it a 3 popcorn. And I just think, like I said, it's the whole romance. The child thing was great. She did, and the fact that it disrupted her life completely, and she did something about that. That was really good. I thought that whole part of the plot of the movie was really good. But as far as the romance, yeah, I'm like you. It's like, come
It could have
on,
been without it.
you just threw somebody in there just to make it interesting.
Yeah.
And you really didn't. And the thing about it is like the men in her life just come and go. Like her first boyfriend,
Yeah.
he said he didn't want to be there, and then all of a sudden the apartment's empty. It's like,
Like,
but you don't say where you go or meet him on the street. Sometimes in movies they have him meeting on the street, like, oh, how you doing? I'm doing great. How you doing? Well, I
mhm,
did this and I did that. Well, good for you. And
good
then
for
they go
you.
about their business. You know what I'm saying? But there was none of that for the first boyfriend. And the second
Hmm.
boyfriend, I was like, man.
Yeah. I didn't. That whole scenario when he was just like, "Oh, this ain't for me. I gotta go."
Oh,
Dreaming
Robbie,
of.
you are just
Oh
there. You
my
got it.
gosh, Robbie. Go put on your black shirts.
Oh, I love Robbie,
No,
man.
but
That dude makes it.
no, I just kidding, Robbie. You know I love you. But my biggest thing was just like even at the when he was the first boyfriend was just like, oh, this ain't for me. He could have said it a little better instead of how he did it in the movie.
Yeah.
Like, come on, dude. Be a little nicer and be a little considerate. But that's why I gave it a 2, because the dudes.
Yeah, the dudes are just bad in this one. And
Hmm.
and Harold Ramis is a really he's a comedian and he's a pretty good actor in
Hmm.
itself. And to put him in that position where he's the I wouldn't say the bad guy. He knew what he wanted. And I
Yeah.
think Diane Keaton's character went with that flow too. She was like, well, yeah, I understand, dude. You didn't want this in your life. So why even go with it? And she
Right.
didn't seem like she was too depressed
Nah,
about him
she was
gone.
good. She was like,
Yeah,
okay,
she was
bye.
good. Like, I'm good. I'll see you later.
Yeah.
All right.
But,
So our next movie is going to be Sergeant Rutledge. This
mm,
is I would say,
John.
coming to age movie about black and white relations. And if you watch this movie, it was a 1960 movie. If you watch this movie later on in life, there's a lot of things, unfortunately, that have not changed,
Mm,
and just the presumed innocence is no longer there. Everybody, black folks are always caught up in the crosshairs of being guilty before anybody says anything. And this is a movie with that was directed by John Ford, very good, critically acclaimed
very
director
good.
at that time. It was starring Jeffrey Hunter. Jeffrey Hunter, by the way, if you didn't know, he was the first captain of the Enterprise. He was Christopher Pike. And that's what that gave him, not this movie in general, but that really gave him his claim to fame right there, being that. Also, Constance Towers is Mary Beecher, who was the sympathizer to Rutledge.
Mhm.
She helped him a lot in this movie as far as painting him in a very good light. Woody Strode is Captain Rutledge, or Sergeant, First Sergeant Rutledge.
Mm-hmm.
Braxton Rutledge, as a matter of fact.
Braxton.
Yeah. So he, so he is the one. Let me put this in there. And Juano Hernandez as Sergeant Matthew Luke Skidmore, who is the elder guy in this, as a sergeant. He's just a regular sergeant in there, but he's an old sergeant. He's been around, seen a lot of things in his lifetime working and being in the Army. So he has a lot of bit of a little bit of a thing in here too, because he's like the elder and everybody looks up to him a little bit, you know. So let's put this in perspective. The production company was John Ford Productions. It was distributed by Warner Brothers Pictures. The release date was May 25th in 1960. That was in New York. June 8th, 1960 in Los Angeles. Running time was 111 minutes. There is no thing that says how much it cost the movie to make. But in America, it only grossed $784K, which is not a lot of money, even in that time. So, wow. But it did do elsewhere. It made 1.7 million because, you know, elsewhere, everything's a little bit better as far as race is concerned. And people are sympathetic to certain things. You know, it's just in the United States, it's just like that. But anyway, this movie is based in 1881. And Sergeant Braxton Rutledge is of the 9th U.S. Cavalry, basically one of the cavalries that was an all-black cavalry. And it was led by Lieutenant Tom Cantrell, who is also his defense attorney in this movie. And I think that was a pretty good thing for, you know, him to do, was to be his defense, because who knows him better than his commanding officer, right? So, but he is accused of raping a white woman and then killing a superior officer who is Major Custis Dabney. And he is kind of like, I wouldn't say he's on a run, but he knows he's going to be captured and you know, put to trial. And he knows he doesn't have a very good chance at succeeding in innocence in this, because at the time he's a black man in a white world, in a really white world, and in the West. And, you know, again, he's accused of being guilty before he even has anything to evidence his innocence. And it's all circumstantial evidence. It all points toward him, unfortunately. So Cantrell, they go through these periods where they're going through their I don't know where they're at actually in the movie, somewhere in the West. I would say maybe Oregon or Arizona or somewhere around there. And their job is to push back the Apache Indians who are ravaging the land, or coming in there and making attacks on everybody and stuff like that. And so they're trying to find these Apaches and drive them back to the reservations. Again, not a very good look in American history at that time. Pushing back your Native Americans is not good. This whole movie was like that kind of stuff. And let's just go here for the comments here. The majority of your shirts are black.
I know, Robbie.
All right, Yoli, go ahead, YouTube. Well, you it's not on Tubi. It's actually on YouTube, but it's with ad free. It's a YouTube ad free. So go watch it, Robbie. Yeah, that's perfect. I like that. The evidence of evidence is the absence of evidence. That's exactly what this movie shows. So they kind of cut back to stuff that happens in the past with Rutledge and with Cantrell and all that, going back and having flashbacks. And Cantrell arrests Rutledge because that's his duty. He has to do that. The things don't look right. He knows this. He actually sits him down and talks to him about that, as you saw in the introduction. And then he gets brought back to court. But in between that time, they have to fight these Apaches. Well, in the book of the army at the time, of the cavalry at the time, if you're a prisoner and you're getting attacked by Apaches, or in a war with Apaches, or anybody in that matter, the prisoner will take up arms and help them out. Well, they did that for Rutledge, and he took off. He said, "I'm out because I already know what's going on here. I'm out."
I already know what's gonna happen.
But he felt bad because then he saw the Apaches getting ready to ambush him. So he was like, and like he says, the 9th Cavalry, without saying it, but saying it, is his family. He's been in it for so long, he can't leave his brothers out there to get ambushed by the Apaches. And so he does that. He goes out there and he comes back to him and says, "Hey, they're going to ambush us, get them." So they run him off. They have a gunfight. They run him off. And of course, there's a couple casualties to the cavalry. But in the meantime, they get back and they get interrogated. Let's not forget about Mary Beecher. Mary Beecher. The first scene is they're at the rail station, and there was an Apache Indian attack on the train station, and Mary Beecher's waiting for her father, who she sent a telegram to tell her to meet her there. But the telegram never got sent because the Apache Indians came in there and killed the conductor or the radio guy. So, she's like freaking out. And then he comes in and he goes, "Hey, don't be screaming. Don't be doing any of that because they'll come back and get all of us. Just chill." So he was protecting her and putting her, in a spot so that she wouldn't get hurt. And she said in this trial that, he basically saved my life. He saved my life.
Yeah.
And I don't have no reason why I would think that he would murder somebody. But, you don't know people. You know people by what their actions are, but that doesn't mean you know people. So people were still kind of looking at her like,
Like, can we trust her?
Yeah, like, can we trust her?
Yeah.
And what's going on, Sonia?
Hi, Sonia.
Yeah, Tubi is the best streaming service. If you deal with the commercials, you're fine.
Yeah.
Tubi, we love you.
Thank you, Tubi.
Just remember that so we can get some,
I like your girl.
Yeah. Anyway, so it ends up being that they're in court, and I'm going to bring up a video of that real quick where this is near the end of the trial. And we finally get solved what happens in this whole situation. So, we always tell you the spoilers. We always tell you that, just let you know that. So what happens is there was a ruckus going on, and Sergeant Rutledge heard this going on in a major's house. And somebody had raped his daughter and killed her. And so he was going in there trying to, he found her like that. And he was trying to make sure, she was alive or whatever the case. Her father came down the stairs, the major immediately thought he was the one that did this. So they had a gunfight, and he shot Rutledge, but Rutledge mortally injured the major and killed him. It was in self-defense because he really didn't do anything. He was trying to make sure old girl was all right, which she wasn't. And then he ran from the scene. Well, come to the end of the movie, the end of the trial, it was the son. Well, that was the son of a son came in. The father he was weirdo. And by today's standards, he'd still be a weirdo. He was an old guy, and he raped the young girl because he liked her. And that was found out at the end because Cantrell went off on him. He was like, Didn't you? And he was like, okay. And he did do it, and they try to blame it on his son. They try to blame the whole thing on his son, which of course, in this scene, the advocate for the defense, went after him on this, went after Cantrell and, of course, Rutledge on this. So let's take a look at that. Pete there.
If Rutledge was not guilty, why did he run? Point number 2 is a delicate one. A shadowy thing that in a way has hung over this court from the very start. But I would like to call the court's attention to the fact that it was not I who tried to shift the guilt to a dead white boy to save this man. It was not I who stooped to use the symbol of the cross to pin the hateful charge of rape on a dead white boy to save this man. And finally, it was not I who tried to write the word murderer on the gravestone of that innocent white boy to salvage the life and freedom of this Negro.
If the color of a man's skin is to be introduced as evidence or even argument by this court, then I say it's this court that stands on trial and not that soldier.
Mr. Cantrell.
Yeah, that's some powerful stuff there. That was about the times. Those were the times when that kind of stuff was happening. I mean, you're putting one man's life beneath everybody else's just because of the color of his skin. And and then I can see where that pissed Cantrell off, because it's like, we're not here for the trial of this man being black. We're on this trial because he was accused of a crime. And if you can't see that, then what are we here for? If you're just going to automatically lynch him because you think he did something, that whole thing pissed me off.
I mean, it's still happening now. It's still, I mean, you know who I work for, you know what I do for a living, and you know what I see. So it still happens now. But even in the impact of this film, and it was a really good film. I watched, so I always ask y'all guys what movies y'all are watching so I can rewatch them. But to be honest, like, the modern connection is still, the movie still resonates because conversations around race, legal bias, public press, are all over. And so this film was really good, but it was really, I don't know, for me, it was kind of sad because it's just like, it's still repetitive. It's still going on. It's still like, even when justice works, what does it cost someone to fight for it in the first place? That's my biggest thing.
Yeah, and and this country is so color stricken about things, and this is this and this is that, and if you're black, you don't have a place, or whatever the case might be, and people don't understand the wealth of this country was put on black people's backs. That's how this country became successful, and people don't understand that to this day, and they need to. This stuff needs to just stop. Racism just needs to go, because you have to have everybody. And I'm not just saying, let me clarify something too. It's just not white people either. I think black people need to see the other side too. They need to go out more. I think that's the problem with white people. They just like to stay in their own little shell in their community. They don't want to go outside of that little shell in the community and find out what life is like with other ethnic people. They just want to stay in their own because, oh, well, I'm happy here, blah, blah, blah. Go out there and experience other things. That's what makes you smarter to the world. That's what makes you see things in a different light. And I think all races need to do that. I think they all need to enjoy each other's ethnicity and say, hey, we're one big world here. I'm not trying to be Jesse Jackson and Rainbow Power,
And I get it, because it's just, like, I do a lot of ministry work as well. And so my biggest thing is just like, it doesn't matter what your race is. Like, God loved you, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you love because God loves you. But it's just like, during this movie, I was just like, wow, it's still relevant even now, because it's like how we tear each other down. Even in the same race, we're still women, men and men, like, we're just still tearing each other down. It's just like, when is it going to end? When are we going to, like, not be so biased and, like, just, respect one another and love one another? But yeah,
that movie was a 1960 movie. It's been 62 years.
62
think
years,
about that.
and
62 years, and it's still stuff
you would think
still
would
relevant.
change, right? No, it has not.
Yeah, F around and find out. Um, but yeah,
Oh,
it was a
Robbie.
very. I think the beginning of the movie kind of didn't. I kind of was when I watched the beginning of the movie. I was like, so this is what we're going to base this whole trial on,
Mm-hmm.
this whole situation at the train station. But then as you got through the movie and it kept going and going and going, it got more interesting and it got more dramatic, especially with all the scenes that they had to throw. Because at first, and you really didn't know, Rutledge didn't do it. This is basically how I
Right.
felt. And Rutledge didn't do it, but who you were trying to figure out who the hell did it. At first, my first was the dad did it. He was some perv. Or Apache came in there and got both of them, shot one and raped her. But that's not the Apache way. Got to remember that. They just, if they're going to do anything, they were going to wig her and do the same thing with him, just scalp and bye-bye and probably have a couple arrows just like they did with the guy in the train station.
Yeah.
And then I was thinking, well, then it had to be somebody in that outfit that came in there and did that, because that's just a heinous crime in itself. First, to rape the woman, the young girl, and then to shoot the father. So something had to go on where that was it. So once we found out that Rutledge was there at the scene, he wasn't the one that raped her. He found her, and then of course, coincidence came down the stairs as her father and was like, "Hey, what do you do? What?" And then drew his pistol to fire at him and hit him, but he shot him fatally, being Rutledge, and killed him. He did that in self-defense. Now, James has a point here. Most types of crimes didn't go that way. The movie went in those times. This is true. He had great reputation. The coat and the gold crosses were another thing. The gold cross had a niche in it because the prosecutor, he was like, yeah. So there's all kinds of crosses these people get. We can get all these crosses, but this particular cross had a niche in it, a little nick in the corner, and they were able to take that. He's the guy that made the cross or gave the cross to her knew this, because he wanted to ask her if you want to change it out for something that's not, it's perfect, and she goes, "Nah, I got it this way. I'm gonna keep it this way." Fortunately for her, that helped her solve her murders, who her murderer was. So, not put Rutledge in any harm's way. Now, I'm trying to figure out the end of that now, seriousness of the crimes that he did commit, like running from, the situation, which is something, of course, the prosecutor was like, "Yeah, you run from the situation.
You
Dude,
run,
a
you know
black
he
man,
did it. Like, no,
he's a black
he's
man
scared."
caught in a bad situation, and then he already knew what was going to happen. So that's the reason why he ran. I got that. But he was like, "Well, if he was innocent, whatever, dude, live in your white life, whatever." Anyway, but the fact that he also went AWOL, that was the other thing. Army takes that kind of stuff
Very
personally.
serious.
You can't be going AWOL. I don't care what the circumstances is. You need to stay with your unit, period. And escaping and fleeing, that's something that probably was. I would probably say they would in those days. It's not as complicated as the law these days with that kind of stuff, fleeing and eluding, and and AWOL. I guess I would think that he would have got some kind of reprimand for leaving his unit. But by the way, he is also known as the Buffalo Soldier. And the way he became why he's called a Buffalo Soldier is because that when they were fighting Apaches, this unit, the 9th Cavalry, they were called Buffalo Soldiers because in the wintertime, they would don themselves with buffalo skins to keep warm. And they would fight the Apaches. And the Apaches donned them that name. They're the Buffalo Soldiers. So, that kind of, see, look at that. Look at that. A race that is that's getting eliminated off the land that basically is their, right to live on, donned some kind of a good omen for the 9th Cavalry by saying, they're the Buffalo Soldiers. They respected them guys. So that's, you don't get names from your enemies like that unless they respect you. You know what I'm saying? So the whole thing was really good. I think Kentrell was a really good. I think he was the guy that didn't look at the. I mean, he knew they were black. He leads a black cavalry. Come on.
Yeah.
But he didn't put that. He knew these soldiers. He knew all of them by name and by their personality and everything like that. He knew that stuff, and he knew Rutledge was not that type of guy. And he stayed set up that he was the man. Basically, he was the leader of that group. Besides him being the commander and officer, but Rutledge was the guy, and they followed him wherever he went, and they respected him wholeheartedly. And they would die on a ridge for that guy. So he knew this. And it was like, there's no way this could have happened. And I know, and there's a reason why he ran, or there's a reason why he's not telling me a lot of stuff. But again, this is because white people don't understand the pearls of what black folks have to go through every day. So take your pasta. Robbie, you're Italian. That's just a different kind of white. Anyway.
I was like, I'm about to say, who's stealing your pasta?
Right. I'm not stealing your pasta.
I'm not stealing your pasta. I like pasta. I love me some pasta, but I'm not gonna steal your pasta, Robbie. As a matter of fact, send me some recipes.
Yeah, there you go. So I mean, that was my take on it. Liz, what did you have for it? I mean, how did you like this movie?
I mean, the bottom line is I feel like it was strong and respected. Historically, really an important film. That's why I'm going to give it 3 popcorns because of that. Even though I'm a romantic, I love more romance, but I'm also like, it's classic Western, it's courtroom drama, it's civil rights theme. So that's why I'm going to give it 3 stars.
Okay.
I mean, sorry, 3 popcorns. I keep forgetting. I was like, I'm gonna get like a little popcorn next time.
I'm gonna give it 3 popcorn too. This is not one of John Ford's best movies.
No, it's not.
Kind of like down there in his movies. But as far as the plot is concerned and how it was set up, I thought it was very good as well. I gave it 3 popcorn. I think the premise of the whole situation, that what in the past that you see in movies has been brought to the future by watching it now and saying, dang, ain't nothing changed in 66 years. What the hell is going on with our humanity? Well, I'm going to put it this way. What the hell is going on with our American humanity? That's what I want to know. That's the thing right there.
Yeah.
It's like racism runs rampant in this country for no apparent reason at all. It's just dumb. And it's just like going through Hispanics, this thing about putting a wall in.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Dumb.
I mean, and they make movies about it, and that's what we watch. No, I do have a question. What John Ford movie did you like? Like, what's one of John Ford's movies that you are really drawn to, besides, like, I know you like this one, but what was one of John Ford's movies that you like?
He does a lot of good westerns. That's what I really
he does
more known him for. Like Fort Apache was a good one. The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, I like that one. I also like some of his movies are not westerns that I liked. Was, let's see, I gotta remember, bear with me here. Oh, he did the Battle of Midway. He did the Battle of Midway. That was one of my favorite movies too. Older movies. Grapes of Wrath was a good one.
Yeah.
Mr. Roberts, another military movie.
Yes, that was a good one. How the West Was Won.
That was another one.
My favorite. And I really like that film. He really did like bring out different things and characteristics in that one. So that was one of my John Ford. That's like my number 1 John Ford movie.
Yeah, John Ford was really good in his back in the day when he was directing. He had very good movies. I know I haven't seen all of them, but I come across one that says is directed by John Ford. I know it's going to be a good movie.
Yes.
Like I said, this movie wasn't one of his best movies, but at the same time, the plot and everything that was in it was great. I think that it pertains to what today is about, even in 1960. And I think at 1960 they were trying to get a point across too. There's always movies like that like, hey, you know, you gotta prosecute the man for being a man, not because of the color of his skin. That's what you gotta do. And I stopped doing that stuff. And all these movies that came out around those times, it's like they were trying to tell you, they were giving you a message, and nobody was taking heed of the message.
No,
yeah,
it wasn't.
Nobody's taking heed of the message.
Yeah.
So,
and that's the thing. Like the Sergeant Rutledge isn't just about whether one man was guilty in the movie. It was about whether America's justice system can see past its own prejudice. So that's one of the things I liked about the movie, was like it still resonates. But
yeah. Well, Liz, it was great to have you on.
Thank you for having me, Beastrilla. Have me anytime.
Anytime you want to come back, just let us know, or if you got to fill in for one of us fellas, that would be great too. You're excellent. We'll have better grasp on it next time for you, so that you're more involved in it instead of me talking my face off. And this will start to conclude our show. Our next movies are going to be Presumed Innocent and The Messenger. Presumed Innocent, obviously,
really
is
good movies.
Trying to do our law thing with the Presumed Innocent, and The Messenger, of course, is our military theme, what we have to go through. So for me and James, let me miss you, brother. See you next week. And Liz, everybody have a great night, and thank you for joining. Yes, she is. She is good people. She is good people.
Bye, Robbie.
Y'all have a good night. We'll see you next Tuesday at 8 p.m. BW Flix, the average movie critics. Have a great night.
Adios.